with the Dream Dublin send-off now out of reach after Liverpool's European adventure was ended by Atalanta on Thursday. The Reds now turn to getting back on track in the Premier League today as the sprint for the title nears the finish line for all three teams involved. It is a 4:30 kick-off in the capital this afternoon. Can the Reds galvanise themselves and claim what would be a vital 3 points in this tricky-looking away encounter with Fulham today? Welcome along to today's Matchday Live, where we are in need of a big performance from the Reds this afternoon, and also the same from my two guests here in the studio. Never anything less than an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 from Ronnie Whelan and Gary Gillespie. No, you both always tens, these two. And likewise from the lads down at Craven Cottage as well. Mark Benstead and Ray Houghton are getting us warmed up for this one, lads.
Good afternoon, Becky. I'm not too sure about a sprint for the Premier League title. It's Marathon Day in London today, and that feels a little bit more apt. The problem for Liverpool, though, is it also feels like they're stumbling in mile 26, having led the way for most of the race. Yeah, they spent 87 nights at the top of the Premier League table. They now find themselves in third spot. Ray Houghton, how do they shake off those recent trips and stumbles and get back into their stride?
It's going to be a fantastic sprint finish, isn't it, between the three teams? It's going to be incredible. What a Premier League we've had this season, and it's so competitive with, 5-6 matches left for the teams at the top. I really can't tell who's going to win it. I actually predicted, I think it'll go to the last game of the season and it'll probably end up with goal difference. That's how tight I see it between the three teams.
In terms of today, what kind of challenge will we get from Fulham? So some big results here, notably against Spurs and Arsenal this season.
Yeah, look, listen, they've picked up 28 points at home this season in the 16 games that they've played. They've won 9, they've drawn 1 and lost 6. And only 14 away from home, so it shows you how good they've been here. Crowd get behind them, the noise in here will be absolutely electric. They've got all the flags out, that's to get behind the home team. And as for Liverpool, they've just got to be out there, make sure they're professional, make sure they're disciplined. Try and not give away the first goal in the game, because we've done that far too often recently, and you're not always going to get back into the games to go on and win them, as was proven against Crystal Palace last weekend. So for Liverpool, it's going out there, playing the game on its merits, knowing what's at stake. They can't afford any more mistakes between now and the end of the season. They have to go on a fantastic run. We know they've got 3 games in 7 days away from home, but they're more than competitive to beat all them 3 teams, and if they do that, they're in a great position.
Great stuff, Ray. Yeah, plenty to come from Ray throughout the afternoon, and team news from both camps on the way very shortly.
Thank you both. Mark and Ray geared up for a big one, as we are here in the studio. And we keep on saying it, Ronnie, every single week, but it is a big game. They are all big games now.
When we played, it was great to be involved in them. This stage of the season, 6 games to go, and you have to win the 6 of them.
Yeah.
But you're still in a position that you can win the league. You're not messing about in the middle of the table. You've got big games every week. You want to be involved. And again, we've got a big one that we need to win this afternoon.
Yeah, you and I did the preview show on Friday at AXA, and we were watching an interview with Virgil van Dijk, who said it's just all about a big collective push now to the finish line. They know what they've got to do and hope that others slip up along the way. And all you can do is give it your all.
Give it your best, give it your all, yeah. Play with enthusiasm, play with your heart as well, as much as your technical ability. I think you slog it out for about 9 months. And it's this stage of the season where this is where it counts, and it's all about getting out there and getting the result by hook or by crook. You just know that the 6 games that they've got left, the performances, they're not going to be fantastic in every one of the 6 games, but somehow you have to find a way to get the result and win the game. And it starts here. We've got a really tough week when you think about it.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Fulham away, Everton away, and then West Ham away. And we haven't done particularly well down in London grounds so far this season. So fingers crossed that doesn't, it's not a little bit of a jinx for us.
Yeah, hopefully today books that London trend. We'll obviously speak a lot more about Fulham in the coming minutes, but let's focus firstly on the previous game, which of course was Atalanta on Thursday night, Ronnie. And it's strange to think that this was Jurgen Klopp's final European game in charge. That journey's obviously not quite ended the way we were hoping it would this season. They got the win, but it doesn't feel like we won the game.
No, we got the win, we kept the clean sheet, everybody's going great, because it hasn't happened a lot recently. I still think of Mo's miss from on the 42nd minute or whatever it was. He's straight through, and you just think, again, it's when we get in positions around the goal like this with Salah. the last pass is wrong, like the goal here, Salah should have scored, and you go in 2-0 up, and then it's all really going in your favour. But come out second half, we didn't do as much as I felt we should have second half. That for me was a sending off.
I think it's been indicative of the last 2 or 3 games where we've created loads of opportunities, and not just created opportunities, but be in positions where we could even created a lot more. And had we taken them, then like the games would have been, I think the result, the outcome would have been a lot different. But you know, that's football. You just got to put that behind you and get on with the next one.
Yeah, I think it was more hard to take because I think a lot of the fan base had almost come to terms with not going through, and then you had that hope maybe if we got an early goal. And then we did get that early goal, and you start to believe a little bit, don't you? But
I was still believing up to half time.
Yeah.
But then 10 minutes into the second half, it just seemed that it was too much for them to do it on the night. I've still got 50 tickets for Dublin if anybody needs them. It was just too much in the end, wasn't it? They just couldn't get there. It's very difficult. We're talking about after winning a game. And we're talking about what's going on. We don't exactly know what's going on, why it's all gone wrong with Liverpool. But for me, there's so many circumstances of injured players are coming back into the team. They can't get up to scratch. The game's probably a bit too quick for them at the moment because they would have had to do a pre-season, the amount of time they were off to get back into the game. And now the lads who kept playing are tired to putting the lads in who've been injured, and it's just not all gelling together.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to try and take some positives. As Ronnie said, some of the lads are coming back, and also first clean sheet you mentioned since Forest back in February, which as a defender, you know, that's obviously
I think that's vitally,
basis.
I think that gives you a little bit of confidence. It's something Liverpool have not managed to do on a regular basis like throughout the course of the season. So I think that is a big bonus for us. Whether we can build on that and go into these games, these 3 away games, and keep 3 clean sheets, well, that would be lovely to think that we could do that, because if we do that, I think we've got like enough potency at the end, the other end of the pitch to score goals. I think when you talk about like teams going into this spell, we're talking about Liverpool being tired. You know, Arsenal are going to be tired as well. Manchester City are going to be tired as well. They didn't have like the best of results in Europe as well. So I think we've got to put everything in context. It's not just us that will feel tired. It'll be the other contenders for the championship as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's just remind you how the weekend's results have gone so far. We'll start with Saturday's fixtures firstly. And Luton's survival hopes took a very heavy hit at home at Kenilworth Road, beaten 5-1 by Brentford, a Brentford side without the injured Ivan Toney as well, winning there. Sheffield United, similarly, there can be, you would think, no way back for them now, beaten 4-1 by Burnley, but Burnley throw themselves at a real lifeline with that result, you would think. At Wolves, 2-0, they were beaten by Arsenal. That one, of course, very relevant to us. Leandro Trossard and Martin Odegaard taking Arsenal back to the top of the Premier League, 3 points clear of Liverpool before kick-off today. Now, in this afternoon's fixtures, still playing at Goodison Park, and it looks like a big result for Everton there. 2-0 currently. They are leading Nottingham Forest. It's Villa 0, Bournemouth 0, Crystal Palace currently leading West Ham by 3-0. Goals from Elise Eze and an Emerson own goal for the home side. Both of those last 2 games midway through the first half. They are deep into second half injury time at Goodison. And of course our game is at Craven Cottage, Fulham against Liverpool. No game for Manchester City in the Premier League, of course, this weekend. They beat Chelsea 1-0 in the FA Cup semi-final. Some very tired legs on display for City, though, without a doubt, maybe suffering the effects of that gruelling defeat to Real Madrid in midweek. Manchester United, of course, facing Coventry City this afternoon in the other semi-final. So this is quickly what it means for the top of the Premier League table then. As we say, Arsenal 3 points clear before kick-off in this game. Barring a seriously impressive win for Liverpool today, the Gunners will still be there come the close of play today. But the Reds can move level on points. Man City, of course, don't have a league game until they play Brighton on Thursday nights at the Amex. So it is just 1 hour to go until kick-off at Craven Cottage. Then time to get the team news from the Reds camp. Mark's got all the details. Mark.
Thank you, Becky. Well, Liverpool face 3 games on the road over the course of the next 7 days, and those 3 away games will make or break their title hopes. Given the workload on the horizon, Jurgen Klopp has rung the changes for today. There are 5 alterations from the side that lined up in Italy in midweek, including changing all 3 of his players in midfield. Liverpool line-up then in full as follows. It's Alisson, Becker in goal. Trent Alexander-Arnold comes in and starts right back in the Premier League for the first time since the game against Burnley in February. Jarell Quansah slots in and centre-half alongside Virgil van Dijk. Andy Robertson will play at left-back. In midfield, it's Wataru Endo, Harvey Elliott and Ryan Gravenberch. Up top, Diogo Jota, Cody Gakpo and Luis Diaz. On the bench, Kelleher, Gomez, Kanati, Szoboszlai, Nunes, McAllister, Salah, Jones and Tsimikas. Former Red Ray Houghton is back with me pitchside here to analyse the team for Liverpool today. Are those changes just because of the workload of late, and what is on the horizon this week?
I think what it is, Mark, is obviously there's been a lot of games in April. I think we're going to play up to 8 matches. So the manager has been in consultation with the medical team, and just to find out, will anyone get any more injured or pick up an injury if they keep playing games? So they'll look to that, and I think it's the right decision what they made today. Whoever the starting 11, it doesn't matter, they're all capable. They wouldn't be at this club if they weren't. So it's up to them now. They've got the shirt, they've got the opportunity. Go out there and play to the best of your ability. And if you do that, Liverpool still should be good enough to win the game. If it isn't going in Liverpool's favour, you can always look to the bench, and we've done that plenty of times this season, and they've created goals, scored goals, so I don't think it's going to be a major problem, and the manager will be looking at the other games we've got upcoming against Everton and West Ham on Wednesday and then on Saturday as well.
Do you think part of it as well in terms of the change is to sort of jolt something into the team, given the fact of late the results have maybe stuttered a little bit?
No, I think it's tiredness. I mean, I did the game on Thursday, and I've got to say, I thought the second half would just run out of legs. That was, I thought, evident. Anyone watching the match, you could see the likes of McAllister was dropping deeper and deeper, and I felt for him because he's played so much football and he's been such an inspirational player for Liverpool. I can understand why the manager might give him a rest. Dominic's been coming back for an injury, same with Curtis. These lads have come in after being out for quite some time, and then you're asking them to play at full tilt, match after match, and I think that's unreasonable to do that. They're not going to be capable of doing that. So you have to look after them medically, and I think that's exactly what the manager's trying to do today. So the likes of Gravenberch coming in, this is his chance now. Harvey gets his start, playing against his old club that he knows very well and had a bit of stick here, and then the League Cup semi-final. So he's got a point to prove as well. So I ain't got a problem with it, to be honest. I think it's inevitable the manager was going to change it around at some stage just to freshen things up a little bit. Some players have got their opportunity now, so it's up to them. It's
an unfamiliar midfield trio. How do you think that balance will work, and then how big a test will they have given the likes of Paulinho up against him, who's a really impressive player? Yeah, but look, listen, it'll be quite easy. You'll have Endo sitting, you'll have Harvey one side and Gravenberch the other, and they'll be given licence to get forward. Whenever Harvey plays, I really like him because he's always looking for that positive pass, and when you've got the strikers that Liverpool have got, they want the ball played through quickly. Don't always want to go backwards and square. You want to be progressive with your passing and get someone who can actually play into an area who can affect the game. And also having Trent back, even though Connor's been absolutely brilliant in his time in the team, he's out injured a minute, but when he played the other evening, Trent against Atalanta, when he came in that inverted fullback, from the inverted fullback position to a central position, his passing ability is brilliant. So the strikers don't come short, look to get in behind, and that's something that I'm sure that will be uppermost in the Liverpool players' minds today in this game. And I suppose at the top end of the field, people look and saying Diogo Jota, arguably the most clinical of Liverpool's forwards, is starting today at a time where we need to be clinical. Yeah, but he's got to be up to pace, because when he came on as a substitute on Thursday night, he just looked like he was off the pace a little bit. And that can happen, when you're coming on as a sub. You're not always up to the speed of the game. He's in from minute one, and he's going to be up there to protect the ball. He's good in the air, so we can get crosses into the box, because he'll go and attack it. And as you say, if there's a chance, he's more than likely to get that opportunity to score the goals. But don't forget Mo Salah. I'm a big advocate of how well he can do, and a lot of people have been a little bit critical maybe of him since he's came back. I'm not as worried as the others. I think when it comes down to, if there's one chance in the box, I want Mo Salah in there, because I think he can be the game changer, the difference, and I still think he's going to have a lot to give in the remaining fixtures and in this game today as well. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, we'll bring you the Fulham team in full a little bit later in the show, but the headline for their team is just one change from that victory against West Ham. No Willian today. He scored 4 goals against Liverpool in his career. He's out this afternoon. Bobby Decordova-Reid starts in his place.
Thank you very much, lads. Let's get the thoughts of Gary and Ronnie in the studio on that Liverpool team. 5 changes, Ronnie. We thought maybe a few, possibly a few more than we anticipated. What's your initial reaction?
I start to worry when McAllister's not on the pitch and Salah's not on the pitch. You know, the players who make you really tick most of the time. It's difficult for the manager at this moment in time because he knows he needs his players tired. He knows he needs to make some changes. He's got a huge bench, that's for sure. Nunes, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Salah, Tsimikas, Jones, they can all come on, they can change things. But I'm thinking all the time, put your best 11 out, you can change them. I don't think that's the best 11 we can get on the pitch. I think with some of the subs it can be. But they know a lot, like Ray said, medical, they know an awful lot more than we do about how players are feeling.
Yeah, your thoughts, Gary?
Well, I think the manager hinted after the Atalanta game, like in his press conferences, obviously into the build-up to this game, that Alexis McAllister had played so much football that he maybe was a little bit out on his feet. So I expected him not to play. I think the important thing is that if we have no Alexis McAllister in the middle of the park, the creativity is maybe a little bit wanting at in that sort of position. Hence the reason why I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is a key component of like the Liverpool side. When he gets into these central positions, he will become the Alexis McAllister. It will be up to him to deliver the passes. I don't see the likes of certainly Gravenberch and well, Harvey Elliott maybe if he's playing in there. I'd be interested to see who actually plays in there. Does Gravenberch play in there? Alongside Endo and alongside his fellow Dutchman and Cody Gakpo, or does Harvey Elliott fit in there?
Yeah, the lads alluded to it earlier on, Ronnie, but I suppose it's that unfamiliarity as well. They have to gel pretty quickly, that midfield. I'm
sure they've worked on it in training. They haven't had long, but I'm sure they've worked on this team and where they're going to go, what your position is. See, people coming into the team, it's not an awful lot different from the ones who are going out because they still play the same way. Liverpool, high press. I think Endo will be... He needs to be solid in that position in front of the back four. He needs not to be running all over the place. Just sit in and play from there. Give it to the other lads who may create chances, like Gaz said, Elliott and Gravenberch. It's a difficult game. It's one of those games that you don't want at this end of the season. Well, I wouldn't want at this end of the season.
Yeah, but we're seeing the Liverpool team there, including Diogo Jota, who we just saw arriving at Craven Cottage. Yeah, and we spoke about him on Friday in the preview show, Gary, and there's that kind of need to almost hook onto something when you're desperate for points at this stage of the season. And I guess him and some good goal returns in the next 6 games is what we're all banking on, really.
Well, a fit Diogo Jota is really top best, is obviously he's a goal threat. Now, whether he can get up to that sort of level with the short amount of game time that he's had is always going to be a question. The one thing that you would say about Jota, he's been in this position before when he's had a long layoff and injury. He's come back into the side and he has delivered, and it's vitally important. I think when you look at Liverpool's form throughout the course of the season, all the 5 players that have played up front have contributed goals-wise, and it's vitally important. I think they do that for the remaining 6 games, and Jota will certainly be a key figure. The lads have hinted on it. I think probably when you talk about our strikers, alongside Mohamed Salah, Jota is probably the most clinical of the goal scorers. So I think he's got a big part to play.
Yeah, and we've got Trent getting his first Premier League start in over a month today. Obviously got the winner in this fixture in that crazy game at Anfield, the 4-3. But we saw against Atalanta just what obvious qualities he brings to this side. And I think he got about 70 minutes under his belt in that game. So should be pretty much close to full fitness now. Yeah,
he should be okay. As you say, he went off after 70 minutes, gives him a bit of a rest. But what he did especially the first half, when he stepped into midfield and was pinging balls all over the place. Yeah. He's got such a huge array of passing once he goes into that midfield position. Sometimes you would ask, well, why don't you just leave him in there, put it right back in and let him play all the time in there? But it's the way they play, and he steps in there. Hopefully he can do it again, because he can cause problems with his array of passing that he has.
Let's quickly show you the Fulham lineup. Mark did allude to it. There is just that one change from their pretty morale-boosting win last weekend against West Ham at the London Stadium, Gary. That change is Decadova-Reid, who actually captains Fulham this afternoon. He comes in for Willian, and no real change for Marco Silva, no real need rather for Marco Silva to change things up after a decent 3 points last weekend.
No, I think they've done exceptionally well. I think the form here, when we were talking about it earlier, beat Arsenal here, beat Tottenham here, had some really good results. I think they've conceded 3 goals early on in the season. I think it was to Brentford or something like that. And then I think the next 15 games they've only conceded 13 goals. So this is a tough place to go to get a result. Bobby Reid coming in, I think he's got a good goal scoring record against Liverpool as well. He scored an awful lot of goals. So again, like most teams in the Premier League, we look at teams and they've always got somebody that can hurt you. They've always got somebody that can damage you. Muniz is obviously, he's had a fantastic run lately with the games that he's played and the goals that he's scored. So, you know, as I say, they are a tough team to play against. Yeah,
we'll speak about Fulham more, you know, in detail a little bit later on. But just in terms of what Gary said there, they're pretty formidable at home. I think only Newcastle have taken more of their points from their home fixtures. So just underlines it a tough place to go, as we know it is.
Yeah, most definitely. But we've also got to realise that they're very inconsistent. You know, they could win 5-0 somewhere one week and then the next week lose 4-0 at home, or 4-0 somewhere else. They are very inconsistent, and I think Liverpool need to. We've all read and talked about 15 minutes early on in the game where Liverpool are not scored, they concede. If Liverpool can get on top early on and get a goal or two, Fulham have got nothing to play for. And they may just go, oh, okay, it's Liverpool, easy day out, we'll just let it go. But we need to be on form to be able for that to happen.
Yeah, Liverpool do need this one more, there's no doubt about it. We are heading to a break now, but that also means it's time to say goodbye to those of you watching us on our socials. If you do want a little bit more though, and why would you not, you can find details of how to subscribe to LFC TV and LFC TV Go. Head to liverpoolfc.com/watch. So coming up on Matchday Live, we'll hear from both managers, and Trent Alexander-Arnold is on his way too. Following our pre-match, Neil Mellor will be alongside Steve Hunter, bringing you live audio commentary. That is from 4:30. Then after the full-time whistle today, the Matchday reaction follows at 6:30. And then a few hours after that, we strip the pictures off our post-match show and turn it into the Reaction podcast. And that will be available for you on Apple, Spotify, wherever you normally get your podcasts from. Then free highlights will be available over on LFC TV Go from 8:30 p.m. and the full 90 minutes available to watch on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. Subscribers can get that from midnight tonight. Also, do look out as well for the latest episode of Inside 2 that will land on YouTube and Facebook on Monday. So for those of you watching on socials, thank you, and for everyone else, do stick with us. We are going to hear from both Jurgen Klopp and Marco Silva in just a few minutes' time. Do not go away.